So, as I sit here and watch the news, it is just story after story after story of everything is completely out of control. $80 billion to fund the IRS to come after each and every one of us for our taxes. $80 billion they could spend on that garbage. 85,000 IRS agents. And at the same time, the story 10 minutes before that is in the top 25 major cities of the country, you need at least 113,000 minimum just to get by. So there's mass exodus in all the cities. And then on top of that, the border's getting flooded. All these foreigners, illegal immigrants, most of them probably criminals, were being sex trafficked. And if you're not, God bless your soul that you're lost in the mix of all that. But try to come here legally. That's why there's a process. And that's what brought all the great Italians and Polish people and all the great Europeans and Africans. And I'm not getting into the slavery issue. There's a lot of immigrants that came here from all over the world, in Asia, Australia, and every part of the world. And that's why we're a mixing pot. But there's a process to go through it, not illegally through our southern border where China and Mexico are doing a depopulation agenda with fentanyl.
Impacts of inflation. Cale Thompson has all the details from the live desk for us right now. Good morning, Cale.
Good morning, Jen. And here any minute now, we should get a report for wholesale inflation, which is usually seen as a predictor of future consumer inflation trends. The Fed is watching these reports very closely as it looks ahead to its next meeting to talk about interest rates coming up May 2nd and 3rd. In newly obtained notes from its last meeting in March, we now know the Fed and Chair Jerome Powell expect a mild recession this year, followed by a 2-year recovery period. It appears the recent banking crisis may be what tips the scales toward a recession, and despite overall inflation showing signs of improvement, it is not across the board.
If you look at cost of transportation, that went up. If you also look at airline ticket prices, also went up. If you look at the cost of housing, still very elevated.
Speaking of travel, we just got the quarterly earnings report.
Part of the Great Reset. They don't want you to own your property. They want you living broke. They don't want you traveling because that is the ultimate freedom. That's how we do commerce and have a good family and social life, and how the United States, why it's called the United States.
Report for Delta this morning, the airline saw a net loss in the first quarter of the year, which it attributes to its new contract with pilots, which gives them a 34% pay raise. But Delta is upbeat about travel demand going into the summer and expects earnings to rebound this quarter. In the next couple of minutes, we will get an update on weekly jobless claims, which are used as a rough measure of whether layoffs are rising. I'll be back with that and the producer inflation report, wholesale inflation, coming up here in just about 10 minutes.
And another discouraging report out this morning about just how far your money will go. The National Desk's Angela Brown joining us right now. And the study shows, Angela, just how much money it's going to take to live comfortably in the biggest cities. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, especially when you think about it after taxes, Jan. This new survey is coming from Smart Asset. It goes really beyond inflation. It dives into how much you need to bring home to live kind of what we would call a well-rounded life. We're not talking about buying luxury items, but being able to afford to go to the movies or buy gifts or even save a little bit of cash. The study used the 50-30-20 rule. 50% goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% for savings or even paying off some of your bills, using the money a person takes home after taxes.
So for San Francisco, we had found it costs about $84,000 to live comfortably. And a reminder that that's post-tax income. So you'd actually need around $131,000 in salary to just have the bare minimum comfortability there.
In Orlando, you need to bring home after taxes over $67,000, Baltimore over $62,000, San Antonio around $59,000. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics says from December 2021 to December 2022, inflation rose by 6.5%. Smart Asset found the cost to live a comfortable life in those major cities increased by much more than that.
However, in the largest 25 cities, we found that anywhere from 13% to 27% were more realistic increases in the cost of living comfortably.
Wow.
And an April report from the Economic Innovation Group found more than 1.2 million people left the nation's largest urban counties between July of 2020 and July of 2021, another 860,000 the next year, adding up, though, to over 2 million people. High rent, rising crime, remote work, all factors for people leaving these big cities, a mass exodus that is also leaving behind another casualty, empty office space. CoStar data found nationally office real estate vacancies stand at 12.8%, the highest since the Great Recession.
Thank you, Angela. The Pentagon investigating.
So there we go. And the other part of it is a overreaching government, disarmament of citizens to defend themselves against the rising crime rate. And then on top of it, you know, we have some overreaching militarization of the police where these guys are on power trips. Not all of them. There's a lot of good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones, like the whole Tyrese Nichol thing.
Activist who identifies as transgender. Washington police say Nada trashed the St. Louis Catholic Church in Bellevue last summer, destroying a statue of the Virgin Mary and assaulting a female church staffer. Nada was charged with hate crimes and assault, but the DOJ offered a plea deal. We have an alarming warning about parents being fooled by artificial intelligence used to fake the voice of their children. An Arizona mom got a call from a man who claimed to have her daughter, and she could even hear her daughter crying for help in the background. The mom said there was no doubt in her mind it was her daughter's voice and inflection, but her daughter was fine. The person who did that was on the phone using an AI device to mimic her daughter's voice perfectly. Scammers can do this with just 3 seconds of audio from a social media account. So Police are now warning for you to be mindful of what you post online and mindful of what your children post because of these terrifying scams. A big win for states' rights over federal control of their land for now. A federal judge in North Dakota put a temporary block on the Biden administration's controversial Waters of the United States rule.
Agenda 21, Agenda
2030.
2030.
Industry groups did sue to block it. They say the rule would bring wetlands and waterways under federal jurisdiction, impacting countless farmers nationwide, and a judge agreed.
I mean, let's be serious, man. We put up with a lot of garbage in this country, and I'm not enticing anything with this statement, but I just want people to put that thought in their head, that there has been revolutions over a lot less, and on top of that, there's more plants burning, there's more brush fires and power outages nationwide. I don't even report on half this stuff. There's so much happening all at once. People don't see it. China's doing drills in Taiwan about Taiwan, invading them. Nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles that could have nukes are being flown by North Korea everywhere. Over the Easter holiday, Syria and Israel were bombing, and there was bombs over in Jerusalem on a holy holiday. Protesters ran up on French President Macron, and he got arrested. They just said 2 minutes ago on the TV that some kind of documents got leaked about Biden's security in Ireland. Nobody likes these people. How are they even here? I don't know. You could just tell that unless you're funded by these big corporations and bankers, that nobody likes you. Nobody. It's widespread. The jig's up. Your lies have been exposed. And all it does is make our country look like shit. Because this country is a great country. It's a beautiful place to live. There's tons of scenes. Historic, beautiful nature. Good-hearted people. And a lot of people don't see this stuff in their daily lives because they wake up, they take care of their kids, they go to work, they go to school, they come home, they're tired, got responsibilities, and this shit is stressful. And there's so much going on, it's hard to put the pieces together, but once you know the things to look for, it all just is just this cyclone and this fucking revolving door, man. And I try to step away from it, but it's getting closer to everybody's lives, depending on what part of the country in. you're in, you see this stuff right on your doorstep. And if you don't, it's because, like I said, you're just living a regular life and you probably stay home a lot. Nothing wrong with that, but being educated is important, very important now.